So, welcome everyone. And today we're going to talk about intervals on guitar. So, intervals meaning how many frets equal the terminology. So, in other words, we use the word octave, okay? And just to give you an idea of how that relates to the guitar in frets, and there's actually a numbering to it. So, it depends on the instrument you're on, right? On piano, it'll be the same spacing, right? So, for example, we have the whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. If you watch the How Scales Are Made video, you'll know that that is the major scale formula for the major scale, and this is the C major scale up here. So we're going to use that as our reference point for this lesson, so you can understand what we're talking about. And intervals always relate to the major scale. So that's what we're going to talk about. And then there's certain terms that indicate whether it's up a fret, down a fret, and we'll explain all of that next. So you understand a lot what the names of the chords are referring to, or if you're hearing this musical terminology referred to by someone who plays a different instrument, it will help you understand. Okay. So let's get right into it. The first one, most common one that you've probably already heard of, is an octave. And you will have to know for this in case you haven't watched the How Scales Are Made video. I do go over a whole and a half step, but just in case you're not familiar, very quickly, a whole step is when you're talking about between two frets. So from this first fret to the third fret is a whole step, which indicates, from C to D would be a whole step because we have a whole here. And half step is if you go from, let's say, the third fret to the fourth fret. Okay. That's a half step. It's just one fret. Half step equals one fret, whole step equals two frets. So one fret would be where we have half here in the in the scale formula would be E to F. That's a half step. All right. And that's all it means, but you'll probably have to know that throughout this lesson. So back to the octave. An octave equals 12 frets. So remember, there's a difference between the notes in the scale and the number of frets it takes. So one octave is from the first note in the scale to the eighth note, which is the repetition of the first note, right? It starts again. So an octave is from C to C. So it takes eight notes, the eight notes of the major scale, but it covers on the guitar 12 frets. So from C to C. And that's because there's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, this formula up here for the major scale. Now, just to show you a few different ways to show how this comes from here, there's the C here. If you skip a whole step, that's D, right here. Then you skip another whole fret, two frets, that's E here. You skip one fret, that's F. You skip another two, that's G, whole. Whole, G to A here, and whole from A to B. And then the B is a half, B to C. See? Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. All right? When we say eight, we're counting each one of these loops here. Okay? We're counting the notes in the scale. But when we say frets, we're counting up the frets between all of these notes. See? So a whole step is two. So each whole step is two, four. The half step is one, five. Whole step is two, seven. All right. That's how many frets are between them. Nine, 11, and a half step is one, 12. So that's equals 12 frets. So one octave is 12 frets from C to C. It's from the first note of the scale to the last note of the scale, and then the first note repeats again as number 8. Okay, so a second or the second. The second refers to not time, right? Not a second, but the second refers to the D. So it's the second of the scale. So the second is two frets away from the first because it's a whole step. Whole step is two frets, right? So whole equals two frets. Second is D is two frets away from the C. Now it's hard not to confuse these numbers with the number designation of the scale. So in D, it applies that D is the second of the scale. It's also called the second, and it happens to be two frets. away. So it all adds up for D, but it doesn't do this for all of the notes on the scale. Okay. Next, you have the major third. So why do they call it a major third instead of just a third? Is because a major third always means in relation to the major scale. Major third as in the major scale to distinguish it from the minor scale, right? Where the third is flatted. So make a point to say that the third is major. So major third is the third note in the scale. So 1, 2, 3, E, but it doesn't add up with the frets anymore. So there's 4 frets. A major third equals 4 frets. So you can use that term to refer to the space of 4 frets right on the guitar. So C to D is whole step, 2 frets. D to E is whole step, 2 frets. So 2, 4, right? C to E, 4 frets away. So major third refers to the distance of 4 frets on the guitar. And now the other is minor third. So minor means simply down a half step or 1 fret. So minor means 1 fret down minus 1 fret, third. So it's E flat. So the minor third is E flat, and that one adds up as well because it is 3 frets away. So we have the first, the second, the third. It's a minor third though, so that means -1 from the E, or the third note of the major scale. So -1, E flat, and that is 1, 2, 3 frets away. So minor third equals 3 frets. And don't worry about, you don't have to memorize all of these. I just wanted to give it again. It's good to be somewhat familiar with this stuff, just so you understand if you see the terms and you hear what they're saying, just so it's not confused with the numbers in the scale, right? So again, the fourth doesn't mean 4 frets. It means the 5 frets. So the fourth of the scale is 5 frets away from the first. Why is that? Because again, the whole half, whole half, whole step, C to D is 2 frets, 2 plus 2 to 3, which is D to E. A whole step is 2, so that's 4. And then the fourth of the scale, which we're saying that's the name of it, right? The fourth, it refers to the fourth note of the scale, is 5 frets away from the first. See? So it refers to 5 frets. The fourth equals 5 frets on the guitar. And again, the fifth, you can remember these by whole half, whole half, right? If you know the notes of the scale or you know the numbers, then the whole half tells you that's 5 notes, 5 frets, right? 5 frets away, but 3 notes, okay? So we have the C, D, E, F, and G is the fifth. So the fifth equals 7 frets. Again, because whole equals 2, C to D, C to D, 2, plus 2, 4, right? Here. Then 5 from E to F, because E is only a half step away from F. 7 is 2 more because whole step between F and G. So fifth equals 7 frets on the guitar. And now a sixth. So sixth equals 9 frets for the same reason that 2, 4, 5, 7, 9. 2, 4, 5, 7, 9. 2, 4, 5, 7, 9. So sixth equals 9 frets on the guitar. And with the seventh, we come again to that major minor seventh thing. So the major minor seventh again, because I did another video on this with chords, how chords are made, and also mentioning chord formulas, another video on chord formulas. And if you look at those, you'll see that the flat 3 and the flat 7 are the most commonly flatted notes in chords. So because of that, they have the major seventh and the minor seventh. So a major seventh is as in the major scale. So in this case, B here, because we're in the C scale. The minor seventh we'll go into next, but it will be down a half a step, right? Minor always means -1. So major seventh equals 11 frets. Same reason, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11. 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11. Major 7 equals 11 frets on the guitar. Minor 7th equals 10 frets on the guitar. So minor 7th, again, minor always means minus 1 fret. So 11 frets was major 7, minor 7 is going to be 10 frets. It's also going to be, instead of a B, it's going to be a B flat. So 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, right? B flat. So 10 frets minor 7 equals 10 frets on guitar. And then we get into these, you'll see if you watch the chord formulas video, you'll see that there are 9th chords, 11th chords, 13th chords, and these refer to above the octave, okay? So we have from C to C, right, is 1 octave. And if you continue counting, you would put another D here, and this would be note number 9. But it comes back to the beginning, so 8, 9. And the D is the 9. The reason they use 9 instead of 2 is because it's 2 frets above the octave. So see, we have C to C here, and then we go up to D. All right, so this is 2 frets above C. Ninth. Ninth equals 2 frets above C. So technically it's the second of the chord, but it's 2 frets above C if you're talking about the frets on the guitar. And then we have the 11th and the 13th. So the 11th is going to be the same as the 4th note in the scale, because we have 9 is the second, right? 9, 10, 11. 12, 13. So this would be the 11th, the 4, right? And the 6th would be the 13th. It's going to be the same note, but again, the point is that it's up an octave, okay? So the 13th is going to be 9 frets above the octave. So remember, 9 frets, not 9 notes, so it doesn't mean it's up two octaves, right? It's 9 frets above the octave. So 9 frets, right? Because we have whole is 2 frets. Whole. So if we start from 8, right, we have 8. This D would be 9, right? 10, 11 is here on the 4. And then 5, or it would be 12 and 6th, okay? And the 6th, so the 13th is 9 frets above the octave. Because we have the whole, we can count the intervals here, right? So the 11 would be 2, 4, 5 frets above the octave. And if you keep going, 7, 9. So 9 frets above the octave for the 13th, which is also the 6th, but again, up an octave. So I put the A down here so you could see that it's up an octave. It's on the first string. Here, we're on the second string. All right, so don't worry about memorizing all of this. It's okay. You don't have to know it, like the back of your hand, unless you want to, of course, if you're interested in the theory. But I just wanted to give you a quick overview of what this means in case you come across these terms, and so you can relate them to the frets on the guitar. So if you have any questions about today's lesson, or if you have any other theory you want to see on the channel, anything else you'd like to see on the channel, or questions you have about any of this, just let me know and I'll get back to you. All right. So until next time, take care and have a lovely day.